Happy Sunday. Grandma Bev here. But you thought just because TikTok was gone, I wouldn't be doing this? No, no. I'm on too many social media sites to stop. I'm gonna be here. I'll tell you one thing though, the sweater is awfully hot. We have an Arctic cold blast that came down and hit Arkansas. And, you know, it's like single digits. It's freezing. But that's not why we're here. In 1963, I was 9 years old. And he was coming to our city, Chicago. Martin Luther King Jr. was coming to our city in Chicago. He was going to be speaking at the A&P on 115th and Racine, which was directly across the street from where I lived. I remember when we left for church that Sunday, there were more cars than usual in the neighborhood. And my mother said, it's going to be so hard when we come home to get in the neighborhood. And she was right. We had to park, I think, about a mile away. We couldn't get anywhere near our house. And we had to walk all the way. It was me and my two sisters, and my mom. And Dad was already at the house. And when we got there, Mom got us in the house because there were so many people. I mean, tens of thousands of people. And Dad said he was going to go across the street. Mom wasn't going. I was going with Dad because that's what I did. And so I went on across the street with Daddy. And I remember him holding my hand. And they had to keep the crowd in the parking lot because the A&P and the grocery store had to be able to get their customers in and that kind of thing. So you couldn't block the entrance. So we were able to walk, and Dad was going to the drugstore. And he stopped, and when I looked to my right, there was a man on a podium. He was standing on something, and he was looking over the sea of people. And it was him, that voice, that voice. And he was talking in the gestures. And this woman, I mean, full regalia, hat, dress, jewelry. She said, come here, come here. And I looked at my dad, and he said, go ahead. And so she took my hand, and we were standing there because there were a line of people holding hands. So you couldn't, get past them and get close to Martin Luther King. And my father leaned down and he whispered, I'm going into that drugstore and I'm getting my libation. Do not leave the spot. I knew what libation was. So he said something to the lady, and then he went inside. And I will never forget what this woman said to me. She leaned down and she said, you see that man right there? You listen to that man. You listen to every word he says. That man is going to be famous. He is important. He is doing things for Black people. He's going to make our lives better. You listen to every word he says. I did. And I promise you to this day, I do not remember one thing he said, but I tell you what I do remember. You know all the paintings we see of Martin Luther King with that side profile? That is burned in my memory. It is etched in my memory and will never leave. That woman in my ear and the image of Martin Luther King Jr. standing on that podium talking to people in my neighborhood at 115th and Racine in front of the A&P in 1963. I will never forget that. To this day, well, when I was working, I always took Martin Luther King, when it became a holiday, I always took that day off in honor of him. But now that I'm retired, and I crochet. What can I do to honor him? I crocheted socks, I crocheted hats, And I'm donating those to the homeless shelter. Next time I'm going to start, I think this spring, so I can have more to give. It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't cost a lot to make a difference, but make a difference. Even if you just whisper in someone's ear, you have no idea what impact that'll have on their life. Be blessed.